I'm Mahdi Shaheeb Sher. My website is shaheeb.com. One of my interests in the world is Mahdi Shaheeb Sher. It's kind of the 5 year Ukraine war. I think that we have had the 5 year Ukraine war for a while now. It's almost a decade. But the duration of the Ukraine war is an important factor of the war. I think that it's gone on for 5 years, and not even a Second World War has gone on for that long in terms of the value and importance that's placed on the war. So I think that it's almost the size of the Second World War. And I think that when you look at the wars we've had in the last 50 years or so, most of the wars have been maybe 1 year at the most, or 2 or 3 years, if they're more serious. But I think with the Ukraine war, we've had it for 5 years now, so I think that we do have uh, a war in East Europe, the Eastern European theatre by Russia. Is kind of the backyard, the back door of Russia. I think that we've had a European war with the Ukraine war. That's what we've had. It's not some kind of Middle East war or a war with Taiwan and China or maybe even South America somewhere. It's a European war again. The last time we had a European war was with the Bosnia War. That went on for 2 or 3 years, I think. I think with the Bosnia War, it was quite a serious war that involved a lot of ethnic cleansing and genocide as well. And I think it changed the whole map of Europe. I think we had new nations from it, like Czechoslovakia, like Albania, Bosnia, and Macedonia, and other nations as well, Slovenia and Czechoslovakia. So I think we've had a few nations that have been created with the Bosnian War. And I think with the Ukraine war, it's kind of maybe double the size or maybe 5 times the size of the Bosnian war because it's gone on for longer. I think it's 5 years in duration. It's involved at least 100,000 soldiers. It's attracted over 150 billion dollars worth of military aid. It's involved a lot of European powers as well, not just two powers, but it's involved other European powers. Apart from Russia and Ukraine, it's also involved Germany, France, and European powers, Europe and America. It's also involved maybe China as well, and even North Korea, and it's involved other countries. So I think that the Ukraine war is kind of changing Europe. It's probably the longest Eastern European war in the past 30 years, or maybe 50 years. So I think that the Ukraine war is a very important war. It's directly involved Russia, and Russia has never been serious like that in Eastern Europe since the 1970s, when it was in Hungary, Romania, or maybe just Hungary. I think that Russia dealing with Eastern Europe is very serious. I think it's involving 100,000 soldiers, maybe 1 million tanks. It's involving maybe $500 billion worth of military aid just to Ukraine and Eastern Europe. It's involved in NATO, which has introduced 2 new member states into NATO. It's positioned 45,000 new NATO troops in Eastern Europe just to deal with Russia as a threat, as a military threat. So I think that NATO is involved now as well. And obviously Europe is concerned. It's concerned enough to send its own tanks into Ukraine, Leopard tanks. So I think it sent almost 1,000 of those. And I think America has also sent its tanks there. There's a lot of artillery there, which is important to kind of break up the infantry in Ukraine. think if Russia is to be stopped from progressing into Europe any further as a military power, then it does need European tanks and artillery to break up its infantry that's heading that way. And of course, it also has 1 million tanks that are new modern Russian tanks that have been recently produced, $750 billion. I think Russia has modernized its army, and it's mainly done that by producing more tanks, modern Russian tanks. I think there's 1 million of those now. I think that Russia lost a lot of their tanks and now they've replaced them, but I think they may be losing them again. But the fact that there could be 1 million Russian modern that there could be 1 million modern Russian tanks in Europe is a concern and a consideration. So I think that that's important, and I think that the main people to blame is America. I think America has turned a blind eye to most of the America is conducting in the world. I think America does have a problem with the world. I think it's very aggressive with the world. I think it's very duplicitous and very hypocritical. I think that it's kind of saying, no, thank you, we have our own interests. And I think it's created a lot of these problems itself. And now it's leaving other countries to pick up the pieces and to deal with the mess. And I think for America to create these problems and then to allow other countries to have to deal with this mess is unforgivable. It's absolutely absurd. It shows what clown America is with Uncle Sam, the clown American clown. I think that we do have a problem with America, and I think this has to be confronted. I think America has responsibilities in the world. I think that it's created a lot of problems in the world. It's created the Iraq War, it's created the Afghanistan War, and it's also retreated from the Afghanistan War. It's also maybe created the Ukraine War by confronting Russia in Europe. It's created an energy crisis with kind of energy insecurity with American oil in the Middle East. I think that we should have American oil in the Middle East. That would create global stability and order. But I think that America has dealt with kind of issues with Africa and maybe the Taiwan Straits and Taiwan. It's kind of picked and poked at Tibet and Taiwan and maybe Japan as well. And then it's dealt with South Africa. And I think these are secondary issues to what the world is having to deal with at the moment. And the world is having to deal with very modern problems like a migrating population, an immigrant population, a changing global economy and technology, more advanced governments, more modern nations, and BRICS economies. I think these are the challenges that the global order is having to deal with, and the world order, and perhaps the Shaheeb order is having to deal with. I think we are living in a Shaheeb world order now because it's Mahdi Shaheeb Sher, and it is kind of like dealing with the problems of the world, the problems that America created. And I think if we can solve these problems that America's created, then there can be some kind of peace and order and stability, and perhaps peace and prosperity. I think that's what would be good for the world appetite and situation. Most of the world is happy and eager to develop with its own quality of life, and prosperity and peace. I think that most of the world is happy with its standard of living, um, technological and government advancement, happy with its progress and movement and change and development. So I think the world is happy with things. But I think unfortunately we have maybe a greedy America, corrupt America, that has its own grievances. And I think that it is creating problems in the world where the world can't move on by itself on its own. And I think because of this, we are kind of creating some kind of good things. The world has a right to govern itself as one world, as one people, as one nation. America is obsolete, it's outdated, it has 500 years of history in the world, and it has 500 years of civilization in the world. That's how young and juvenile America is in the world. I think the world needs to move on from young, juvenile America in the world, from James Dean in the world. It needs to move from the red cars and James Dean in the world to more of a modern world full of wise nations, developed nations, progressive nations that deal with the quality of all nations, the rights of all nations, and the freedom and independence of all people and all nations. That's what the world admires with its true instinct and conviction and emotion and passion. I think the world has justified its direction with human equality, freedom, liberty, right, and dignity. I think that's what the world wants now. It doesn't want American greed, money, or corruption. I don't think it wants hard business anymore or an American monopoly of world trade. I think what the world wants is human dignity with freedom, liberty, equality, and true equality of all life on earth. And I think that's what would be very progressive for the world. Thank you very much.